The Rolling Stones just made $235 million on one tour, 18 shows. 3 of the 4 members are in their 80s. Meanwhile, LL Cool J, hip-hop royalty, first album in 11 years, sold 16,000 units in his opening week. Same premise, legendary act, comeback album, wildly different economics. And it's not because the music's worse. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what infrastructure the Rolling Stones have that hip-hop's legends don't. And the real dollar number that gap is costing an entire generation of artists every single year. Here's the piece almost nobody names directly. The Rolling Stones tour wasn't just sponsored by a promoter, it was sponsored by AARP, the American Association of Retired Persons, an institution built specifically to serve people over 50, officially co-signing a rock tour because classic rock and adult contemporary radio have spent 40 years telling advertisers exactly who's still listening and exactly how much money they have. And it's not just the Stones. BWO's founder noted, while eating breakfast this week and watching CBS Mornings, National Morning News, a commercial comes on for a Bryan Adams and Pat Benatar tour, brand new music, 16th studio album, 28 cities, a City and Verizon pre-sale attached to it. That's not nostalgia advertising. That's a national morning show selling new music from artists in their 60s directly to the exact audience that's already primed to buy tickets. Now look at what's actually happening in hip-hop right now, because the talent gap is not the problem. LL Cool J's The Force, 11 years in the making, features from Eminem, Nas, Snoop Dogg, 16,000 units, week 1. Killer Mike's Michael, 3 Grammys, including Best Rap Album, 14,000 units, week 1, debuting at number 58 on the Billboard 200. These are not failures, these are legends, doing great work, hitting a wall that has nothing to do with talent. Adult contemporary and classic rock aren't just genres. They're radio format categories, bought and sold by advertisers, built specifically to keep aging artists commercially relevant decades into their careers. Hip-hop has never had an equivalent format built to sell new music from its legends, not old records, new ones. Stay with me. This is where it gets interesting. Clipse, Pusha T, and Malice hadn't released an album together in 16 years. Their new record, Let God Sort 'Em Out, 118,000 units in its first week, number 4 on the Billboard 200, their biggest streaming week ever as a group, bigger than their entire 2002 debut era. So what did Clipse do differently? 3 things. 1. They kept ownership of their masters and said so publicly as the headline of their own success. 2. They explicitly refused to sell this as nostalgia. Their own team's words, "We did not want anyone to look at Clipse and say, look how great they once were." 3. They brought in Tyler, the Creator, a culturally current voice instead of leaning only on other legacy names. Clipse proves hip-hop's legends can absolutely still win commercially, right now in 2025. What they don't have, what nobody in hip-hop has, is an institution that builds that outcome automatically, the way AARP and classic rock radio build it automatically for a band in their 80s. So here's the number, and I want to be straight with you about how we got it. There's no official study measuring this gap, so we built the estimate from real numbers. The per-show revenue difference between a hip-hop legends theatre tour and a classic rock legends stadium tour is easily 10 to 30 times. Scaled across even a handful of eligible veteran hip-hop artists, that's conservatively tens of millions of dollars a year in touring revenue alone, plausibly $50 to $100 million or more. And that's before counting a radio advertising category that doesn't exist yet, and institutional sponsorships like AARP that have simply never been built for this audience. But zoom out past any one artist's paycheck for a second. Every dollar this missing infrastructure fails to generate is a dollar that never recirculates through black communities at all. A real format means real jobs. Programming staff, ad sales teams selling against this audience, tour promoters, booking agents, session musicians, sponsorship managers, podcast and media spin-offs. The same ecosystem of work that classic rock and adult contemporary radio quietly support every single day. That's not one artist missing a payday. That's an entire employment pipeline that simply doesn't exist yet, because the format that would generate it doesn't exist yet. So here's what's actually in your hands. Stream the new music, not just the old catalogue. That data is literally what gets a new category built on Spotify or Apple Music. If you want an artist to actually get paid, buy the vinyl, buy the ticket direct. That sends real money their way in a manner streaming never will. And if you're a legacy artist yourself watching this, Clipse just handed you the playbook. Own your masters, refuse the nostalgia frame, bring in someone culturally current. Hip-hop's elders are still making the music. Clipse just proved the audience is still there. What's missing is the infrastructure that turns that into an institution instead of a one-off comeback story. And hip-hop isn't even the whole story. There's a second version of this. R&B actually had this infrastructure once. It had it and lost it. That's next. Full breakdown, sourcing, and the case for what this format could look like, that's on the forum. Let's build the thing that isn't there yet. Courtesy of Black Wall Street Odds.